Hey guys, it's Bros here, and today I didn't really know what to upload, so this video's a bit late. I'm sorry for that, but hey, that's just life. Sometimes you don't know what to do until the last minute. I wasn't really sure what to upload, but I had an idea come to my head. And, I was looking at some of my rocket racing videos recently, seeing what types of videos were getting views and whatnot, and I noticed a trend. And it's the fact that people seem to like watching videos that are talking about the problems of the game. We got, racing against a hacker. They broke rocket racing. Riviera glitch shortcut. That kind of stuff here. That's getting more views than other stuff. So I thought, you know, let's talk about a bug that's been in the game all the way back since Season 0. And that has to do with barrier breaking. Now, I will say that I think Psyonix and Epic wisened up with their newer tracks. They don't really use barriers that much in them anymore. They're a lot more open, and the overall track design and flow doesn't really revolve around barriers quite like they did in Season 0. That being said, though, the Season 0 tracks are still quite loved by a lot of people, and there's quite a few broken shortcuts that you can do by escaping the barriers that it doesn't really make sense. I mean, okay, there's been many different methods discovered for barrier breaks over time for quite a number of tracks, and some tracks they fixed well. Case in point, Sidewinder. They added quite a few checkpoints to that track. Um, they also did the same to Anarchy Arches, both 1 and 2, the Bone Caverns. So they've added checkpoints there to make those tracks much better. But there's still, and I counted, 8 tracks in the game that suffer from barrier breaks. And I'm going to showcase now the most commonly used barrier break that you see in speedrun mode these days, and it has to do with the respawn method. So we're gonna go ahead, load into Outpost right now. I'll see you guys here after this loading screen. Okay, so alright, so we're in Outpost now. The method that I'm going to show here, funny enough, it never works your first time doing it. So you have to respawn here, and then like this. Okay, it doesn't work the second time either, I guess. Okay, it worked that time. So the respawn method, what you do is you respawn right at the start of the race, and you'll spawn just ever so slightly in the air. And when that happens, the game loses track of you with its barrier system, and it doesn't know where you are. If you were to die, it would respawn you at the finish line. So people take advantage of this. Now, obviously, this isn't the best run here, but we're just doing a showcase of what the glitch looks like. So here, there's only one checkpoint left on Outpost, and right after we collect it, we respawn right at the end, and it's run over. Just like that. So, obviously, it's a little broken. Now, there's also some hackers here, funny enough, at number 1 and 2. That's a completely different story. Those guys should just not even be on the leaderboard. A 13-second and 18-second outpost isn't even possible with the glitch. So, you can just ignore that. But yeah, that is what barrier break looks like. And, barrier breaks and methods, they can always be discovered. There's always new barrier breaks that can be found. But there is one way to future-proof barrier breaking, and it's just by having good, solid checkpoints. So today, I'm going to be showing off the 8 tracks that I think could just use a few extra checkpoints being added, so that even if there were more barrier breaks in the future, then it would not be the end of the world for these tracks. So the first one here that we have is Curvy Canyon 1. Now, Curvy Canyon 1, you would break the barrier and just fly over and skip the first turn. So by putting a checkpoint in the first turn, even if you do a barrier break, it wouldn't matter because you have to go around and collect the checkpoint anyways. So that's the first one. The second one here and the third one are in this section of the track. I'm just going to go back here. So putting a checkpoint on this little turn here, and then on the turn right after, prevents you from being able to jump over the gap there, collect that checkpoint all the way on the left. And then the next checkpoint in the map currently is right here. And because that's also the last checkpoint, people can respawn and just finish the race right away. So even if you do have those checkpoints there, it's not good enough. You need a checkpoint here, I think. And I also think you need one right on the last corner just for good measure. So that's Curvy Canyon 1, the checkpoints that I think need to be added there. Logically, the next one we should go to is Curvy Canyon 2, which again, very similar checkpoint placements that should be added. Funny enough, the checkpoint on the right here doesn't exist in Curvy Canyon 1, but it does on Curvy 2. So it's a little weird, but hey, whatever. Good for them. I do think that they still need to put a checkpoint where the car is right here, though, on this turn. You also should probably put one before this tunnel here, and also right before the finish line, for the same reasons as Curvy Canyon 1. Now, the next track to talk about is going to be Outpost. So I think that you should probably put a checkpoint right in the middle of this turn here. Just, keep it a little far back from where that checkpoint is currently. And then I think that this entire turn should be redone. So the checkpoint on the right there that's currently in probably should be taken out. Or, I don't know, leave it in, I guess. It doesn't really make too big of a difference. I guess checkpoint clutter looks a little weird, so that's why I say take it out. But you have one checkpoint here where the car is, right before the spiral, and you also have a checkpoint here right at the end of the spiral. And I think that should be good, but the key one is to also have one checkpoint here at the last turn. So even if people are doing a respawn method, they would have to get this checkpoint at the last turn to make it even work. So that's Outpost there. The next one is Windy Way, or Windy Way. Not sure what one it is still. Kind of a bizarre map because there actually isn't any barriers here. What people are strictly doing is manipulating the checkpoint system so that they die at the very start. And because windy, you're not really driving on normal road for most of it anyways. You're driving on the dirt, you're driving on rocks and stuff. The route doesn't really change too much. So after you grab the last checkpoint on the satellite, you would just respawn at the end. So by adding one last checkpoint right before the finish line, it would close off that loophole there. I do think you'd have to make this checkpoint really big because there's a lot of free space at the end of Windy, and you don't want to change how people change or play the map too much. So just making one big checkpoint here right at this end ramp, so people can still do quite a bit of different strats at the end of the map. A lot of leeway to move around, whatever. But just having a big checkpoint at the end should solve this track's issues here. The next track is Pleasant Park, or not Pleasant Park, but Pleasant Pit Stop. Again, it's a barrier break where you skip the first turn and you can respawn before the end by just putting one extra checkpoint in the middle of this turn here. It's one extra checkpoint they have to go wide to grab for, and it would make the glitch route slower than the no glitch route. So that's the only one that should be added for pit stop. The next one is Anaconda, which is just a complete mess. Only 3 checkpoints on a whole map here, which I think it should actually have 8. So we start here with the first corner. Should just have one here. Um, then I think on this turn here, with the cut in between the tree, just a big checkpoint there. Obviously, make it big enough so that the tree cut is still there, so no one really changes how the map is played in that regard. And then, funny enough, because of how broken this map is, this next checkpoint here on the left can actually be grabbed from the first part of the track. So what people do is after they grab the second checkpoint at the pyramid, they just go backwards and finish the race that way. But if you added a checkpoint here, then people would no longer be able to do that. I also think that they should add a checkpoint on this turn here and this turn here, because you never can be too safe with how many checkpoints you have on a track. And they're pretty evenly spaced, and they cover quite a bit of ground, so even if someone is doing some sort of glitch to get it out of the map, or just make the barriers unload, then they'd still have to get the checkpoints. So it would not mean much. Alright, next map, Tilted. Again, barrier break here. There's a checkpoint right before construction, and then after they grab it, they can just skip it because there's no barriers. They just drive the rest of the course. So you add one checkpoint right here, and you also add a second one right here before the hazard section here, and that should make that part of the track not cuttable anymore. Next part is right at the 270, adding one checkpoint here at the ramp because, I mean, again, when people are barrier breaking, they can just go from the checkpoint on the left there directly to the one on the right. So by adding an extra checkpoint here, you'd make it so that, or even like in the backside of the turn, you just, it would make it so that people would actually have to drive the turn and not to be barrier glitching. So yeah, that would fix that part there. Last but not least, you have, since that checkpoint right at the last turn here is also the last one, when people respawn, they just finish the race right away. So you add one checkpoint right at the very end of the track here, and that would also solve that problem. Now, last but not least, I have Riviera, and I think there should be one big checkpoint just added here. There actually isn't any problems right now with Riviera. However, with that Riviera glitch video I had in the past, it's quite a long ways from the second checkpoint and the third checkpoint on this map. So just by adding one extra checkpoint here, right in between them, you don't have to worry about people skipping this part of the map. And yeah, that should be it. Barrier breaks, I don't think they're ever going to be fully fixed, and it seems like they're kind of straying away from barriers in their design for tracks. So by fixing these old ones, by just adding a few checkpoints here and there, it's not a lot of effort on their end, and it fixes the tracks for much better. So yeah, with all that being said, I hope that Epic and Psyonix see this, and I hope that they can just do just a little thing, little teeny thing, to fix these tracks. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys have a good day, or a good night, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And take care. Take it easy.